the border, but how do you break up with your friend? I know there is no use to confront her, but how do you say this is the end? I'm through being taken for granted. I'm the one you call when nobody's home. Being with you means just disappointment and last escape. So I've been told. Don't bring that bomb to my door again, my friend. You know that you've been crying wolf too many times before this time. I know it. Been there, I've done that. Those words are just sand in my head. So talk if you like. The words will be words till you bring them to life. So talk if you like. The words will be words till you bring them to life. Words will be words till you bring them to life.
That is Talk, Talk, Talk by Saint Michael featuring Anya Gold. This is Let's Catch Up. I am your host, Mike Vatter. And today we have a very special guest, my longtime friend, my sister from another mister, Love Reigns.
Me. I love that song, by the way.
Great song.
Yeah, words will be words until you bring them to light. I like
Yes. Talk,
it.
talk. I love that song. It actually reminds me of you because you are a person of words. You,
Yes.
and you and I actually met and connected over words because you are among other things, you are a beat poet.
Yep.
You are a podcaster.
Yes.
You are a Amazon influencer. You are a radio host.
Yeah.
You are a DJ.
Sometimes I dabble.
You're a singer,
A
right?
singer. Yeah.
Yeah, you sing. Come on, you sing.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
You are a Black Lives Matter activist.
Yes.
You are an activist for the LGBTQIA community.
Yes.
You are an author.
Yes.
You are a published poet.
Yes.
You are an entrepreneur of so many things, t-shirts.
So many things, everything. And as of November, I'm a full blown entrepreneur.
Yes.
So
You make flags and posters and signs and
everything.
doormats and hats and t-shirts and sunglasses. Like what else? What don't you do?
That's what I'm saying. That's the better question. What is it that I don't do?
I mean, look at it. I have a list of like it's not even showing up. Like I have a list of all the things that you do. It'd be shorter if like this book is everything you do. It'd be shorter if I made a list of things you don't do. But I mean, you and I have done so many things together over the years, and I was trying to list the things that we've done together and things that I've seen you do because you've done so many things that I've attended.
Yeah.
I think I have more ticket stubs with your name on it than I do bands and concerts and movies. But let me just say, welcome to the show. You are one of my favorite people on the planet.
Oh.
You're my bubala.
Oh, listen. When you said that, I was like, ooh, a bubbler. I like it.
You're one of my favorite people. You know I love you.
I love you and I'm happy to be here. Thank you.
I'm thrilled to have you. Love reigns. I love. I'm going to gush all over you, so I'm just going to let you talk because seriously, you're my heart. You are one of my favorite people. But and the audience is probably going, "Oh, this is going to be one of those." So let me just let you talk about you. So talk about what of these things, what of this list of this plethora of
Yeah.
things that are love reigns. Um, what do you want to talk about today?
Oh my gosh. We can talk about it all. I mean, some of it, like the doormats and the making things, all of that kind of was actually making the doormats and creating, t-shirts and hats and all that stuff and the podcast, all of that came from quarantine.
Okay.
So all of those are, fairly new things. that I've decided to embark on, and I love it. And I feel like we should still be in quarantine,
I
although the rest of the world feels like they're out here wilding. But
well,
that ain't my business.
yeah, right. People up in the movie theaters and tattoo shops and salons, and I'm not judging anybody. I mean, I kind of judge them, but I just everybody I know who's like, I went and got a tattoo, and then a week later they're like, I'm like, see,
Right.
okay, how's that healing?
Right. I mean, and the thing about it is like I'll go to the barber shop, but when I go to my barber, like the last time I was there, it was literally me and her.
Right.
And then the time before that, it was me, her, and one other person. So like if it's a lot of people,
You're like,
right. Just
cut what you can see.
exactly. Cause I mean, it's still very real. I mean, I go out places, but if it's like a lot of people, if I'm somewhere, if I'm eating or doing something and I see a lot of people coming in, I leave because I can't. I just can't do it.
And I don't go anywhere unless I have to.
Yeah.
And Florida, you can't even see you on that. I made that too dark. Let me pick
No,
it
I
up.
can see it.
All right.
Yeah.
Let me pick another one. I got another one, I think. Let me just say that Florida is, stupid. First one's better. Florida's stupid, because it's Florida. And we both live in Florida. I've got people who watch this who are in Canada and other places, and California and Texas, and my aunt in Oklahoma sometimes will watch this. She's in her 80s, so her daughter, my cousin, will download these for her sometimes. But she will she'll sometimes watch these, and she's like, Oklahoma's pretty bad, but Florida, like,
But if you think about it too, I was telling a friend of mine in Philly, because we were talking about like the whole Gorilla Glue girl thing or whatever. And so she was just like, listen, she was like,
and do not use on your skin. What does she think her hair is attached to?
that's what I'm saying. So she was like, I can't believe, she's like, I'm not going to believe that she was that dumb. I said, I'm not going to say it, but I live in Florida. And I was like, literally, all you have to do is Google Florida man or Florida woman. And there's a plethora of things. So I'm really not surprised, to be honest with you. I'm not surprised because of the stuff that people have historically done being from Florida. I mean, I know she's not from Florida, but we have some crazy people.
I know. But it's when the numbers are skyrocketing and the governor says, yeah, open stuff up, and every other state is saying no,
Because he doesn't care. I mean, he doesn't care. That's just what it is. He does not care. It hasn't impacted him enough.
right?
And him and Rick Scott and all those other people who are Trump cronies, they don't believe it, and it's just like, all right, but these are our leaders.
So you were in lockdown at the height of the pandemic, or the first height of the pandemic, and you said, all right, I'm bored. Was it out of boredom, or was it out of money making necessity, or was it both?
You know what? Honestly, I took about a good day, and because I started to get I had shows that were being canceled, because April, is National Poetry Month. So usually February and April, when I'm doing the speaking and the performing, those are my biggest months.
And I on my old show, and we were promoting a show that you were supposed to be doing, and that didn't happen.
Everything. It's just everything like February, all the school gigs that I had, the speaking engagements, and then in April, everything just started one by one, started getting canceled. And so I took I say 5 minutes, but it's probably like a day, but I took 5 minutes and I said, I was panicking for a little bit because that's a lot. I didn't make a lot of money at my job. So, the money that I was making on my side gigs, that was what I was living off of. And so all those things just started, I mean, like literally thousands of dollars just gone.
Yeah.
Right. And so I said, man, I should, even though, I've never been a selfish person. And I probably should have thought about myself first, but I didn't. Honestly, the show that we did with Al Jack's Radio with Veronica, DJV, that came from, people coming to me and saying, man, what are we going to do? And me talking to artists and talking to other creatives and just trying to get creative and find a way to still, curate a show to where people could perform. So that's really where that's how it all started. Just once things started getting canceled, so it was, for money, but then also just wanting to help other people, because there were other creatives who were just like, oh crap, like what do I do now?
Right.
So that's where a lot of it came from.
So you started sending out pictures of these doormats you'd made and samples. And I ordered one that said, "Bitch, don't wear no shoes in my house," which which was supposed to be a gift for somebody, and I ended up keeping it because I loved it so much, and because I sent you a picture. My cat claimed it.
Yeah. What's funny about that is, okay, so with the doormats, right? I was at when we were still in the office. That was my song. We would play music in the office. And so when that one particular part on that song with Roddy Rich's The Box, when that part will come on, and even to this day, my friends will say, Terry, your part's on your part, because that's my part. And I just say it loud and proud, right? So I saw it on a doormat, I think, somewhere. And I was like, oh man, they wanted like 70 something dollars for it. And I was like, I can make that. So I made it. And really that was my only intent, was to make it for me.
Mm-hmm.
I made it, posted the picture, and then people started cash apping me saying, hey, can you make me one? And that's how that came about. So that wasn't even really planned. It just, it just started.
Snowballed. And so you made a bunch of doormats, and then the shirt you're wearing, is that a Love Reigns original?
No, this is actually another friend of mine, Amanda Betts, just Amanda. Oh, actually, it's her and her husband.
Hold it up.
Will and Amanda. There we go. So it says, I can, I will, end of story.
I love it.
So they have a t-shirt line. So I've been supporting, and that's really what I've been sporting, like the whole pandemic, t-shirts and sweatpants.
Nice. Yeah, I got on it. My underdog victorious. It's feminist. Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. But yeah, I sport t-shirts and joggers just about every day. I'll wear a polo if I got to do a Zoom call for work, but maybe a button down depending on who's on the call. But yeah.
Right.
But so you've got t-shirts and you've got all those things that you screen print and you make yourself, but that has not deterred you from your other work as it actually kind of has overlapped into your work as an activist. And that has helped feed your other passions as a poet and fed into your podcast, right?
Yeah, for sure. So with that, like, there's like the pandemic, there's like stories within stories. So
everyone has like, what are you doing during the pandemic? What am I not? I think people are either thriving and living their best lives. Like I'm Love Reigns. I am doing everything. Or
everything.
I sit on my couch and I'll watch Netflix. Like and more power to you. If you're getting caught up on your reading, if you're getting caught up on your Netflix queue,
more power to you. Legit, last year 2020 was probably it was the best and worst year of my life. Emotionally, it was the worst, I would say, because I would just have these moments. But it was the best year of my life. But as far as like the activism, so I was really, really heavy into activism a few years ago, especially when it came to when we were trying to get the bill passed for the Student Non-Discrimination Act. I went to Capitol Hill with Glisten, marched on Capitol Hill, talked to Congress people, protest and all kinds of stuff I used to do all the time. My mom hated it just because, she was just worried about me. So fast forward to 2020 and when George Floyd was murdered, she knew me, right? So she called me and she said, I know that you want to be out there, and I know that I know your heart. And so she would say, she was on the phone, and I could hear just hear the crumbling in her voice, or and she was fighting back tears, and she was just like, Taryn, please don't go out there. And so I said, I want to get creative and think of other ways that I can protest, and that I can march, and that I can still be an activist. And so once I started the podcast, I said, okay, well then, if I can't be out there, then I can be in here and still make my voice heard and still speak out against things. So on my podcast, literally every single episode last year started out talking about Breonna Taylor. And I vowed to use the podcast, and anytime I touched the mic or anytime I did a virtual performance, I dedicated it to Breonna Taylor, especially, and George Floyd, because I wanted to. I was like, since I can't be out there on the front lines, I can do other things. So
That's awesome. I
yeah.
love. I did and I know this is not about me, and I'm not trying to make it that way, but I did a series of and I like to paint, I like to draw, and I did a series of sketch portraits, and I do them freehand, and then I enhance them on my phone. I'm not, I do an app, and I'm not the best artist, but I do think I'm decent. And I take people I know. Well, let me back up a little bit. I was doing a whole series of women who inspire me, and I was doing it for Women's History Month, and which I think, actually, I don't even think there is a Women's History Month. I think it's Women's History Week, but I was doing it for the whole month. In October, and because I was like, well, they need a month.
Right.
Anyway, so I was doing it for the whole month of October, and I said, you know what, I'm going to do this not just for Kamala Harris and Jackie O and the women that inspire me in the world, and Lucille Ball, and I said, I'm going to do this for women I know.
Mhm.
And you were one of those women, and I sent you the picture on Facebook. And do you remember? I'm sure you
I
remember.
do.
Do you remember? It's like a stupid question. I mean, but I did a whole series of them, and you were one of them. And to me, like that to me that's a microcosm of, it's almost like slacktivism, like, but to me, it's like sending out these things to raise up, and to say, it's not something I'm doing to tell the world, hey, these are women who are powerful and you need to know about them. It's
Yeah.
something I do for the individual, and say, you are a powerful woman and you need to be celebrated.
Right.
So are you crying?
No,
Oh,
I might be a little just teary
okay.
eyed. Well, just only because it's a lot. Like, it means a lot, and the reason I say that is because it's often, like, nothing that I do it for accolades ever,
I know,
right?
I know.
But then sometimes you get to a point where you sit back and you're like, man, like, you feel overlooked, or you feel like your work isn't being appreciated, or you feel like you're being forgotten, and it's just like, damn, like, I put in all this work, and it's not that I want I want to be recognized, but it's just like, damn, like, I'm not just sitting on this couch. I'm
Right,
actually doing stuff, and I'm not doing stuff for me. I'm doing it for other people. So
right.
I'm just a ball of emotions.
Well, that's what I mean. And well, so okay, so when I do that, when I get overwhelmed with something like that, where whether it's someone recognized me or someone put me down, because I feel like we get that both, right? You
Yeah.
I give myself 20 seconds, and you may need 60, or you may need 20 minutes. But I do that, and I'm like, okay, 20 seconds. I get 20 seconds to feel this, and then I have to move on because somebody else needs me.
Yeah.
But I give myself 20 seconds. Uh,
Yeah.
you and I are a lot alike. I'll sometimes text you just out of the blue, or I'll put it on your timeline and be like, why are we twins? That's like one of our inside jokes. I'm like, why are we twins?
Yes, we are. Because there's a lot of stuff that you'll say, and then I'll say that it's like vice versa. It's like, yes, that's
I know. It's like I mean, on the surface, we are nothing alike. We look a lot alike. People mix us up, and
all
I'm,
the time.
I get stopped all the time. People like, Terry? Like, no, I know, I get that. People think I'm you, but no. But I mean, your mom calls me sometimes thinking no. Um,
But you know what's funny? My mom does know about my mom knows about you. She knows who you are, and she might actually be sending you a friend request soon. So
my mom, when she first saw you on stage, I don't know if it was the coming out monologues or if it was one of your shows. But she was in town, and I know too. She's seen you in both, but I think it was the monologues first, and then she saw you at a open mic night, maybe other way around. Excuse me. And but she has not stopped asking about you since.
oh, hey mom.
You're on her list, yes. Anyway, so and there's a difference being on her list and being on a, I mean, this, being from the South, being on a Southern woman's list and being on a Southern woman's prayer list.
Right.
You want to be on the Southern woman's list because she's keeping track of you in a good way. If you're on her
Right.
prayer list, you're in trouble. You know that.
Yeah.
So you're on her list. She's keeping track of you. She's got high hopes for you. She loves you. Yeah, your family. But
Thank you.
but in a roundabout way, I was getting to this, but I forgot. I lost my track, so I was going to jump right into it. Um, it obviously it's Black History Month, and I don't know why y'all get the shortest month. There's a lot to unwrap there.
There's a lot, and you got people talking about you matter month. I just listen.
Y'all got a day at one point. So and
It
then
was a week,
it was
and
a.
then yeah,
I mean, you all may have had an hour.
at one time, but I mean, either way, it is, apparently there's an issue with all of it.
Look, if it were up to me, look, and better people than me have said this. Black history is American history, and Black history is history. I mean, just there's no other way to put it. I mean,
Right.
it's history, and and human rights are rights, and there it's just
Yeah, and I think the thing that people need to understand is that there's no Black History Month doesn't exist because we want it to be segregated or separated. It exists because our history is nowhere in American history.
right. And I hate that people say, "Well, there's no White History Month." Every month is White History Month.
Like you have Black, I mean, there's so many things and so many times where Black folks have done the work and then somebody else took the credit, or if you think about like the amazing sculptor Augusta Savage, she did amazing work,
Yeah.
never got credit for it, so it's like people think that, oh, you want to be separated and it's all of it matters. It's like that's how we want it. We want all of us to matter, of course, but all of these things are separated because of the history. I saw a tweet that somebody said, it was like a school district in Utah, and it said that they're allowing parents to opt their children out of Black history. And so there's a Black guy, a father, he responded and he said, okay, that's cool. Can I opt my kids out of it? Can I opt my kids out of white history?
Yeah, that's my first
I
reaction.
mean,
Wow.
it's all of it's crazy. So
Well, I don't want my kids taking white math. I don't know what that is, but I mean,
isn't this new math that they got? Have you seen that?
I struggled with math when it was easy. I mean, math now, I can't. I
They
can't.
call it the new math, and I was like, how do you have a new math?
Oh, you remember when George W. Bush was talking about new math? That was 30 years ago. New math then was hard.
Numbers are not my thing. I stick to words.
Mathing is hard.
It is. I just math, science. My mom was a science teacher. I hate science. I can't do it. I just don't. I like words.
I'm okay with science up to a point, but I've never been good at math. I told I told my I told my grandma, I think I was 11 or 12. I said I can't count to 21 unless I'm naked. She smacked me so hard. She was laughing, but she smacked me.
Right. I love it. Yeah, I hate science. And it was when I was in school, my mom, like all my friends were like, "Oh man, you always get the best science grades. You always win the first place, and that's because your mom helps you." And I'm like, no, that's not what it is. My mom doesn't help me do anything. She makes me sit there. She would say, because you would think, oh, I thought, you're a science teacher, mom, just do it for me. No. She would say, I have there's a whole bookshelf of encyclopedias. Go look it up.
My mom taught English, and she would say, I'd ask her how to spell a word, and she'd say, look it up in the dictionary. And I'm like, but if I don't know how to spell it, how do I look it up? And she'd say, sound it out. And I'm like, that doesn't help either. I mean, you teach English. Have you seen some of these words? They don't
Man,
sound how they're not spelled how they sound.
yeah, at all.
That's the problem. That is the problem.
Did you see the video of the teacher? I think she taught like second grade, and she was like, "How am I supposed to teach phonetics to kindergartners on like through the computer with words like no, NONKNOW?"
Right. I know. So
Oh man.
so anyway, so we were we were gonna say it's Black History Month. It's also the Golden Globes, and it's the beginning of my favorite season, award season. But again, the Golden Globes and probably the Oscars will too. Now, I will say the Golden Globes do much better in this every year than the Oscars and other award shows do. Now, the Tonys and the Grammys always kill it because
Always.
because the Tonys know and the Grammys know that diversity is the key to their success. But as
Yeah.
far as movies and TV shows go, Golden Globes do much better than the Oscars and Emmys do.
Yeah.
But this year, the Golden Globes really missed the mark on a lot of things.
A lot.
So you'll like, oops, this way. The Golden Globes with the little mayo. They're not Oscar so white, but they're pretty close.
They pretty close.
They missed some things. But before I dive into this, I want to ask you: do you think that white savior type movies and books, like The Help, which I'm sure you've seen, which it has some merit, in the, and I'm going to say this before I ask the question. I think the movie has some merit in the talent. I think the acting is superb. Viola Davis deserved that Oscar. And it made big stars out of a lot of the cast. But as far as the content of the movie, do you think that white savior storylines like that are at all useful for educating the white community, or do you think they do more harm than good?
I think they do more harm than good now, especially because Black folks are tired of the same narrative, tired of the same. I mean, if you think about Viola, she's done amazing work, but she got the Oscar for that, which was well deserved, right? But if you think about people and think about when Denzel got his Oscar, he got it for Training Day. And what was he playing? He was playing a villain. He was playing an angry Black man. And then it was Halle Berry that got it for, did she get it for Monsters Ball, I think?
Yeah.
But, so it's like, what are you looking for? What are they really looking for? So I definitely do think that, now it does more harm than good, because we are at we're at a crossroads right now, right? The history that we've all known, we've known we realize that it was a lie. and that was all built on lies. So what are we showing our kids? What are we showing the kids coming up behind us, right? What are we leaving behind? And I don't think we should continue to leave those kinds of stories for them, where, oh, you need a white savior, or you can only go so far without, and then you need a white person to help you. But that's how we were raised, you know what I mean? Honestly, that's even in my family, when it comes to certain things, you can only get so far, and then you're going to need a white person to help you. That's just how we've been taught, and that's how we've been raised. So I think that if we really want to see change, especially, in film and things like that, and get recognized for it, we have to change the narrative, because it does. I feel like it is going to do more harm than good in the long run.
I noticed though you said now. Do you think at the time the movie was made, um,
Mhm.
it it was a different the answer would have been different?
Um, I don't know. I mean, it's kind of hard to say. I mean, like, it's really hard to say. When was it? When did it come out?
The Help was only within the last 10 years. So
Okay. So I think with movies like The Help, although it was great, like you said, the acting was great, everything was, it was well done, well written, everything was great. But even then, it's just, from that time to now, I feel like it's still doing more harm than good, because we've been beaten over the head with the same narrative,
yeah,
because we have been the help.
yeah.
That we
I,
are the help.
obviously, yeah, obviously, my perspective is I always say look at things from where you stand, because any perspective I have, and anything that I say is I'm saying it with love, because my obviously my perspective on life is going to be different than your perspective on life. I'm
Mhm.
a different race. I'm a different gender. We grew up in different places,
Yeah.
uh, figuratively and literally. Um, but I look at a movie like The Help, and I see it from a different perspective all around, superficially. Uh,
Mhm.
and then I try to look at it deeper, and I hope I look at it deeper than most people do. But I saw the movie The Help, and I saw it differently.
Mhm.
But then I took a deeper dive, and I enjoyed the movie for what it was. Um, and I did see it as a white savior film, and that bothered me. But I still thought, if it were it's based on a book. So then I look at the book and go, okay, so what did they change from the book to the movie? And
Right.
and I don't hide the fact that I have OCD, and I also take that into consideration. Is this my brain
Mhm.
deeper dive than I need to? And I say, okay, well, they obviously change stuff from books to movies all the time. If they didn't, the movie would be 6 hours.
Right.
And then I go, okay, that's just my analytical side.
Mhm.
But then I talk to other people, and a white friend of mine said, oh my God, that movie changed my life.
Mhm. How so?
And that's kind of what I said. And it was that a person, a white man my age said that movie changed his life. And I'm like, we grew up in the same town, we're the same age, and have the same privilege. How racist was your upbringing?
Right.
That a movie that takes place in the 50s changed your life.
Yeah.
A movie about race in the 50s changed your life?
Right.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think for people like him, I'm glad that movie exists exactly the way it is.
Yeah.
But then I kind of go, well, shit.
Yeah.
What's wrong?
Well, it's layered. It's layered. You know what I mean? Because if you think, like, I'll be 38 in
Lies,
3
lies,
days.
lies. Look at that baby face. Look at
I
that baby.
know.
Lies.
But
28,
but
28.
literally my entire life, that's all I've seen is movies like that. You know what I mean? And it wasn't until when Wakanda when Black Panther came out, that's why Black people were so proud and so happy about that movie, because finally a movie that doesn't portray us as the help,
Right.
that doesn't portray us as slaves, that doesn't portray us as these downtrodden people who need help and who need saving, so that's why there's so much excitement. So it's like from this perspective, you know um I just feel like my whole life, that's the only kind of movies we've seen.
Right.
That's the only kind of, and that's the only way that we've been portrayed in film. So, I feel like when books are adapted to film, it is important. But to me, that also says that we need more books. We
Right.
need more books to be written, because we have more, like, absolutely, that story continues, that needs to be told. People need to understand Black people were slaves. Black people were the help. That narrative needs to, it's not to beat people over the head, but say, hey, no, this existed.
Right.
This is how we've changed. This is where it came from. This is where the where we came from. This is where we grew.
Right.
But then there's also a perspective of, if you think about the psychological damage, or impact that it has on Black children, right, growing up. If this is all you see on film, then you don't, and then all you feel like the only thing you can do is become a basketball player or a professional ball player.
Right.
You don't think you can become president. You don't think you can become vice president. So when all of these milestones happen, we celebrate them, because our entire lives, that's all we've seen is us as the help.
Yeah.
So it doesn't take away from the film. Like I said, it was a great, I love Viola Davis. And I love her, any and everything, but I feel like she's done more work. She's done more, Oscar worthy work than the help.
Speaking of which, the list of people who were snubbed this year for the Golden Globes, and it's not lost on me, and I think it will be an embarrassment to the Hollywood Foreign Press to see Spike Lee's children uh, presenting the Golden Globes. Every year the Golden Globes pick the children of a past Golden Globe winner.
Okay, I didn't know that.
They come out on stage and give the Golden Globes to whoever is presenting.
Ah,
They call them the Golden Globe Golden Globe shoot, there's a term for it, ambassadors, Golden Globe ambassadors. So they come out with the trophy, and you see it's usually a woman in a gown who comes out and gives the trophy to, let's say, Jane Fonda, who then says, and the winner is, and Jane Fonda hands it to the winner.
gotcha. Okay.
The woman in the gown who brings out the trophy never says anything. She's the daughter of, like, Melanie Griffith.
Ah,
Melanie Griffith is a past winner. So that woman who brings out the trophy is a Golden Globe ambassador.
gotcha.
Every single one of those silent models who brings out the award
Yeah,
is a Golden Globe ambassador. They're the child of a past Golden Globe winner.
gotcha.
So this year, the Golden Globe ambassadors are all Spike Lee's children,
Wow.
which is great for visuals, but it's only going to highlight how few Black winners there are,
Right.
which is because there are so few Black nominees.
Wow. I never knew that about the Golden Globe ambassadors. Wow.
And in the past, it's really not been noticed because there have been so many white winners and so many white ambassadors and so many white nominees. You
Right.
don't notice. And when you have a Black winner with a bunch of white people behind them, it highlights how cool it is to have a Black winner.
Right.
But it's going to be the opposite when you have a bunch of Black people behind you and a white winner. It's going to look like the cast of the house.
I don't think I've ever seen a, like, now that you say it, I don't think I've ever seen many Black people presenting or like being that silent person.
But it's going to look like the cast of The Help bringing out.
Oh, we have so much work to do.
I know. So I actually have to say, and I know we're running out of time, but I want to say, I want to mention on this show, I want to mention, and I want you to chime in with any that you can think of, but I want to mention the number of casts that were and actors that were overlooked. The entire cast of Ma Rainey's Black Bottom.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
2 actors were nominated and deservedly nominated,
Right.
but the 2 leads were nominated.
Mm.
None of the supporting actors were nominated, and none of the supporting production cast, like the producers weren't nominated, the writers weren't nominated, the songwriters weren't nominated. None of the behind the scenes people, except for the movie as a whole, was nominated. One Night in Miami.
Oh my gosh.
One actor from that entire cast was nominated.
It's crazy.
Judas and the Black Messiah. One nomination. One actor. Spike Lee's The Five Bloods, which I've seen twice because it was, and I'll watch a movie 100 times, but that movie's only been out for a month and I've seen it twice
Mm.
because it is such a mind fuck.
Yeah.
Did you watch it?
I did. I did.
It
Yeah.
jumps around so much, and Delroy Lindo's character. First of
I
all,
love him.
anything he does,
I love him.
throw a trophy at the man.
Yes. Delroy Lindo should have got something. I have to go back and look, but he should have been getting awards when he did when he was in Crooklyn. He played the hell out of that part in Crooklyn.
About that movie, but you're absolutely right.
He played the hell out of that part.
Oh my God, that's one of his first movies.
Yeah. He played the hell out of that.
That's one of his first lead roles.
Yeah. He played the hell out of that film.
Yes. And just, I mean, he's like, some people say about Michelle Pfeiffer and Meryl Streep, who I love. Every time they walk on screen, they get nominated for something. Delroy Lindo is one of those actors. He's Morgan Freeman. You put him on screen, give him an award.
Yeah.
Throw an award at this man for anything he does. He's great in comedies. He's great in dramas. I loved him in Be Cool.
Everything.
I loved him in Get Shorty. I loved him in supporting roles, in comedies. He is great.
Yeah.
And he is hilarious. But in this movie, he is frightening.
Mm-hmm.
He's funny too.
Yeah.
Because he takes that psychosis to a level where you're like, I'm not sure if he's joking with these people. The scene with I don't want to ruin it for people. I'm so bad at I spoil stuff. I like say that and I'm like, oh, I shouldn't have said that. When the characters that we think might be campers
Mm-hmm.
who show up at the clearing in the woods.
Oh yeah.
Like the campers, are they tourists? When they show up, to help.
Mm-hmm.
And he's kind of fucking with them. We're like, is he joking? Is he serious?
Yeah.
I had to watch that scene twice in the moment. I'm like, hold on, Netflix. Let me rewind again. Is he messing with them?
But he does that, and I can't think of the movie, but the way that he takes on characters, he kind of gives that. You know what I mean? Even when he's trying to be funny, it's just like, I don't know. Can I laugh? Am I supposed to?
Guys with a wink in his eye that makes you go, I'm not sure if he's crazy or really fucked up. Yeah. And it's like almost like Jack Nicholson does so well, where you're like, am I laughing at this guy or am I terrified of this guy?
Right.
Yeah.
I wonder who else does that? Al Pacino.
Yes. Yeah. He's in that class. So anyways, he should have been nominated for that. That whole movie was good. I watched it twice in a month, which I never do, but I had to watch it again because it's so riveting.
Yeah.
Uzo Aduba is This Is America. I'm sorry, but she played Shirley Chisholm. To play Shirley Chisholm, I've said this in other shows, to play a historical character without doing an impression of them,
right,
is hard enough.
Mm-hmm.
To do it in a way that makes me believe I'm watching that historical character. Again, Meryl Streep comes to mind.
Yeah.
Angela Bassett comes to mind. Tina Turner. Oh God, I forgot her name. She played Josephine Baker.
Halle Berry. No,
No,
Halle didn't play Joseph. Who played Josephine Baker?
see, she was so good. I can't think of the actress's name. Um, anyway, but yeah, anyway, Uzo in that role of Shirley Chisholm
Yeah.
was phenomenal, and it was not a big role as far as lines, but
Right.
her presence throughout that entire miniseries, she was phenomenal, and she really, for her not to get nominated for Mrs. America is a travesty. Um, Michael Cole in I May Destroy You. Did you see that one?
I haven't seen it, and I think I didn't see it. Is it on HBO or something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the only reason. That's literally the only reason. But I love her. I love her because she was in was it Chewing Gum?
Yes. Yeah.
I liked her in Chewing Gum, but I've been hearing nothing but good things about I
Michael.
May Destroy You.
It's either Michaela or Michaela. I think it's Michaela is how I've
I
always
think it's Michaela, yeah.
heard it pronounced Michaela, but when I see it written, it looks like I want to say Michaela. But Michaela Cole, just such a great performance. Yeah, and there's a couple others I want to mention. Taraji P. Henson having to get up there and present the nominations and to watch her face drop when she looked and said, you know, that she was reading all the nominations and she got to TV and you could see her go, like, that's it.
Wow.
And it was like, I mean, Sarah Jessica Parker is standing next to her and beaming. And Taraji is kind of like, oh,
Right.
black people were on TV this year.
Right. I guess not. No.
It's like, oh, okay. I mean, she got to light up a little bit when the movies were announced, but it was like Lovecraft Country.
Oh my gosh. Right.
I mean, half that, I mean, 90% of that cast is black, and the rest,
Lovecraft Country, all of it. I mean,
if they're not black, they're brown. There's two white people in the show. None of them were nominated.
Crazy.
The show wasn't even nominated. They couldn't.
And that show was so genius.
They couldn't
so
even
genius.
Couldn't even nominate the show for best show. Like something, writing, Bridgerton, which I hated Bridgerton, but they couldn't find one person on that show to nominate.
One person, right?
The cast is black, white, Asian, Hispanic,
exactly.
Latino. I mean, come on.
It could have gotten a nomination for costumes alone. I mean, come on now.
I would have taken Julie Andrews for narrating that show. I would have been happy with, because at least she's not American.
Right. Exactly.
At least she's British.
That's crazy.
National treasure.
And it's such a, but in the past, I don't know. It's like there used to be these subliminal, little subtle snubs, but this shit is it's blatant. Like,
so we're gonna tell Julie Andrews to watch this on YouTube, and she's gonna be like, "I'm considered non-white because I'm international."
Oh my gosh, man!
In that one scene in Mary Poppins, she was pink because they drew her too. In the cartoon scene, they drew her too harsh. That counts. It's colored.
Exactly. They treat us better than Americans do. So I mean, hell,
60s,
whatever.
I'll the hell for that one.
Oh gosh.
I love you so much.
I love you. It's just, I'm as crazy as this world is and as crazy as all this stuff has been, I'm still very hopeful.
I am too.
With a lot of things. So,
if the last 4 years have shown us anything, we had our first black president, followed by our first orange president.
Right, the worst president ever, like in history.
And now we're gonna have we have our oldest president, and then we're gonna have our first black Indian woman president.
Yeah. Hopefully.
I'm just saying. I'm calling it now. I'm calling it now.
Yeah.
So
But you know what I love? I was watching a video and it was President Biden and First Lady. Well, I like to call her Dr.
I
First
do too.
Lady.
I call her Dr. President and Dr. Biden.
Yeah, so they were just walking in the yard because she had put like these big hearts in the yard.
Yes.
They were going for a walk, like it was so normal, and I was like, oh my god, I forgot how much I missed that. Just saying, a
And
normal, just
they hold hands.
and they held hands and they talked to people and
They talk to each other. How do they talk to each other? Somebody posted a picture of Melania Trump, and it said the headline said Melania is completely disengaged from her husband's second impeachment, and I was like, she was completely disengaged from his presidency.
right, the whole marriage. Did you see the video when I guess when they landed in Mar-a-Lago and the press was stopping to talk to him and she kept going?
Yeah. So Ivanka, Jared, and both brothers and Tiffany were all in tears and getting off the plane, and Melania's smiling like Jack Nicholson as the Joker, and,
She's probably like, because I'm free. I mean,
and Barron wasn't anywhere to be seen.
I'm telling you, that lady was being held captive. I don't care what nobody say.
So Barron is somewhere in the White House going, "Mom."
She was being held captive. I mean, because if you really think about it, if you go back and look at pictures and video, you see so many times she's pulling her hand away from him or slapping his hand. Like, we don't do that. What are you doing?
I know.
So I don't know, but I'm hopeful. I'm glad that there's at least some normalcy
Yeah.
back in the White House. Someone who celebrates things, who enjoys being a pillar for the people, or being president. Someone who's not out to destroy the whole country.
Yep.
So,
Exactly. All right. Well, tell everybody where they can find your stuff, where they can send you money so they can get some merch.
oh man, all the things. I am the best place is I am Love Reigns, www.iamlovereigns.live. That's IAMLOVEREIGNS.LIVE. Or if you look up, I'm literally the only Taryn Warwood in the whole world. So if you look up Taryn Warwood, I will come up somewhere.
Well, Love Reigns. I will put. I've shared your last link. Your last with your live video or your LP video, whichever it was. I shared it in our comments a couple weeks ago. But I'll share your website again in our comments and make sure people can find you. And I shared your Amazon influencer link as well, so
Yeah.
people can find you there. But
And that was a fluke. Anybody can do that. Like, I don't want people to think that that's like some special thing. Anybody can do it. Like, I've been telling everybody, sign up for it. It's an untapped resource. Sign up to be an Amazon influencer. You get paid for it.
It's cool. I think it's awesome.
Yeah.
I will. I'll share your links again because I want people to find your stuff and get you money. Get your money, honey.
Get the monies.
Money. Send some money to my Love Reigns.
Money.
And if you want to reach me, if you want to reach the show, of course you can always send nudes to my inbox.
I love that.
I know, isn't that great? It was on a T-shirt somebody gave me years ago, and the T-shirt was long gone, but I was like, I missed that shirt, so I did an image search and found the image. I was like, I'm going to use that on my show.
I love it. Send nudes.
Send nudes. Send noodles. Send food.
Right.
Yeah. Anyway, if you want to reach me, you can send me your nudes, and I will always open them because I'm a glutton for punishment more than anything. And if you want to reach me, best way to my heart is to send me coffee. Send me coffee mugs.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. So check out Love Rain's stuff on my page and on her page. I'll link to everything. Thanks for being on the show.
Of course, this was fun. I love you. I miss you so much.
I can't wait. You are like on my list of like less than 10 people. Probably you're in the top 5 for sure of people. I cannot wait to put my arm around your neck, hug,
Hey,
hug you, hug you, hug you.
I know. I miss hugs. I've been doing elbow bumps.
There's like most people I would rather just never see again. But but you're not on that list. You're on the list of people you're on my mom's list.
I love it. Hey, listen, you know what's funny? Moms love me, and I'm just like, I love it. I love it.
It's the best. It's the best. Oh, they changed your syrup. I meant to ask you about that.
Oh my gosh. Nobody cared. I didn't care about nobody cared. Black people don't care about that shit.
I'm not even gonna start. I'm just gonna say I got into 3 fights with 3 different people on public pages about. I'm like, you know what? One lady said she'll never buy it again. I'm like, it's the same.
It's the same shit.
They changed the name.
But here's the thing, though. This is the part that always gets lost in translation. They'll do stuff like that, and then automatically the world thinks, oh, Black people want this. Black people didn't ask to change the damn name. Nobody gives a shit.
You didn't name it.
I didn't name it. Right. We didn't name it. We don't care about the damn syrup. It's syrup. It's good syrup. The hell? Like, we don't care about it. It's like we're asking for equality and we'll change the name. Let's change the name of the syrup because it's offensive. What?
But you didn't ask for the first name. And they don't even talk about the names it had before. Like Aunt Jemima was not the first name it had. And
not only that, everything. I mean, shit. If we go down that path, literally everything that we all Winn-Dixie.
I know.
And then I heard the Dixie Chicks. They're not calling themselves the Dixie Chicks anymore. That is the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life.
That's the third name that band has had.
It's crazy.
They call themselves whatever they want.
Nobody's asking people. Like, listen, if there's any corporations or whatever, and you're considering changing your name, Black people don't care about the name. We just want you to stop killing us. That's it.
Yes, thank you. Stop. Okay, I'm say it right here. The last message of the show. Stop killing people because of how they look.
Exactly.
Period.
Stop changing the names of shit we love. Care about damn syrup? Is it good? It's good on my pancakes. I don't care about the name. The hell?
You know what syrup I buy?
What?
I go down to the dollar store and buy the one that just says pancake syrup.
That's it.
You know why? It's the same damn syrup that they sell at Publix and Walmart and Winn-Dixie. It's the same damn ingredients and it tastes the same and it doesn't have anything on the label that offends anybody.
What I love is my favorite syrup is the Cracker Barrel syrup.
Yes.
It just is. I mean, and we know Cracker Barrel's racist, but and homophobic. But I like their syrup.
Yeah.
So I mean, you know.
What you do, you go into the restaurant because it doesn't cost you anything to go in there.
Right.
And you go to the table and you take the damn syrup off the table because it's free. It's a sample size.
Yep. And I can bring it home. I got a nice little sample at home, you know, whatever.
Exactly. Tell your white, racist, homophobic friends when they go to Cracker Barrel to order the pancakes and steal the damn syrup and give it to you for Christmas in your stocking.
Exactly.
All I want is free syrup from Cracker Barrel.
Right. I don't care about the name. God damn it. Like, what the hell? This is, oh my gosh. What else ridiculous did they do? It was something else that some other
name.
What was it? Wasn't another company that changed their name and they were like, literally every Black person that I knew was just like, nobody asked you to do that. What are you doing?
Did you see the SNL skit with Aunt Jemima and Uncle Ben?
No, I didn't.
Maya Rudolph played Aunt Jemima. Oh, and Alec Baldwin played the owner of the company.
Oh my gosh. I have to go back and watch it.
And Keenan played played Uncle Ben, and Dave Chappelle played the Allstate auto guy, and and he said Alec Baldwin was like, "We've had some complaints. We're gonna have to let you all go." And Maya Rudolph goes, "I ain't Jemima. You can't fire me." And she immediately starts laughing because she had to do that voice. She goes like this, and then Keenan goes. Then he goes, "But I'm Uncle Ben," and they all broke. And then Dave Dave Chappelle's trying to do the Allstate voice, that deep Dennis Haybert voice, and he goes, he goes, "But you're in good hands with me. You're gonna keep me, right?" And Alec Baldwin's trying to keep a straight face the whole time. It's hilarious.
I have to go back and see it. I love SNL. I like shows like SNL and South Park because they pick at everybody,
They
and I
don't,
love it.
they don't care, and it's funny because it's not even a great skit. The point of it is funny,
Right.
but it's better because they all break character trying because it's so ridiculous is why it's so funny.
Yeah, it is. All of it's ridiculous. And I mean, the fact that people, I don't know, it's just, we could go on and on. I just, there's a lot of ridiculous shit.
In the skit is her going, "I'm Aunt Jemima," and she's dressed like Aunt Jemima, and it's Maya Rudolph, which is just like it's so from the start, it's ridiculous, and then she says that, and she looks right at the camera and says it, and she's like, the look in her face is, "Am I really dressed like this on TV using this voice? Like I'm gonna kill Lauren Michaels as soon as this camera gets turned off." But she's also in on the joke. You know what I mean? So it's yeah.
Yeah, I'm
It's,
gonna have to go back and look at it because I mean, it is. It's just, it's ridiculous, and it's like, this. It's, we could make it simple, but we overcomplicate things. You know what I'm saying? And nobody's asking to be better than anybody. We're just saying,
the whole thing.
can you just treat people the same way? Just treat people like equally.
I get why and when people get genuinely offended. I really do. I mean, not that, and I will never compare, having a mental health disorder or being gay or any of those things, being Jewish, I will never compare any of those things to the outward visibility that racial injustice and racial inequality gives somebody
Right.
or brings to somebody. I will never compare that. I have privilege based on the way I look.
Right.
That's just the way it is. We're still recording, by the way. I don't know if you know. Just FYI. So this is still part of the show. Uh, I know that I have privilege just solely based on the way I look, and I enjoy a privilege that millions of people don't have, um, and that sucks. And there's also advantages to that, and I don't have any control over that
Right.
for me, but I can use that to help others, or I can use it to make change
Right.
that will help others,
Yeah.
and that's all I can do.
Yeah.
Um, so I try to do what I can, and
Yeah.
I get the points where people are offended, and I try to make the world a better place to adjust for those offenses. Um,
Yeah.
and if someone is truly offended by something that I've done or said, I will make the mea culpa, and I will say, "I'm sorry that I did that."
Mm.
I may not agree that what I did was offensive. I may not understand that what I did was offensive, but I'm going to try to fix it. I'm going to try to make it better.
Yeah.
And that's all we can do. But
Yeah.
the bottom line is we need to stop the systemic problems that are causing these issues.
Yeah.
The simple thing is stop killing people for the way they look, stop arresting people for the way they look,
Yeah.
stop paying people for certain types of imprisonment.
Yeah.
I mean, those are basic things.
Yeah. And it should be basic, a lot of it should be basic human
Right.
things, right? But you just, and it was like you said something when you said about as far as like just the things that we glorify, right? I think it was Jill Scott. Jill Scott did a video,
I love
and when she was talking about, I think she was inside of a plantation or something, but she said something that really made me think. When people like, you have a lot of plantations that are like resorts now, or people get married there, and people it's like, an event center, all these things. There's no honoring of the sacred space or anything like that. And she was saying, if you don't see them doing tours at Auschwitz, you don't see them doing, you know what I mean, like there's no, because there's like, come on, you know what I mean? So it's like, I remember when I went to the Kingsley plantation here, true story, like 2 years ago. Went to the gift shop because I had never been, but we went inside the gift shop, and there was a young lady there who was a white woman, and we were just talking to her, and she said, she made a joke about picking cotton. And she's like, yeah, it was something very, very, just very inappropriate. And you could see her, because she said it, and I think she was saying it in a joking manner, but then immediately you could just see her face, she just turned beet red. And I kind of chuckled, and I said to her, and we actually had a good conversation, and I said to her, I was like, you don't have to tiptoe around me because I'm a Black person. I said, but like, let's have a conversation about it. Let's talk about why that can be perceived as offensive, because I'm pretty sure we're not the first Black people you've said that joke in front of. You know what I mean? Like, let's just talk. Let's just talk about it. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna get offended. I'm not gonna, bash you on social media and all that stuff. But I say that to say that we all need allies, right? We all need allies. Black people need allies. Even white people need allies, right? In that moment, I felt like I was her ally. You know what I mean? Because she was willing, and she was listening. She was open to listening to what I had to say, and open to my perspective. But she was coming from a good place, right? She was just trying. She didn't know what to do. You know what I mean? So she was trying to just make light of it, and then just instantly I could tell she was terrified. You know what I mean? But I said all that to say we all need allies. The LGBTQIA folks need allies. Everybody just needs an ally. If we can just all, help each other and fight for each other, we can make this world a better place, right? Because we spend so much time fighting over trivial shit. Nobody cares about the damn name of syrup. Nobody cares about, like, let's get to the root of it.
Yeah.
Because it's all messed up. So
Yeah, I agree. Okay. I know, because you know what we're going to do? We're going to say something else. If it leads to another tangent, we'll be on another hour. So I will have you on again so we can talk about important things like, should black lab dogs be canceled because of their names? Something else really, black labs matter. No.
Or we could, talk about Cracker Barrel. Should Cracker Barrel change their name?
Yes, they should, because they should just be called the Barrel. And then, no, stop.
We stop saying picnic. We stop saying the word picnic.
Okay. I read a post about that, and people were so upset. It's a French word. Do you know, like, have you read the post about that?
No, I haven't.
Picnic is a French word. It is not there's no racial history to the word picnic. It started as a French word that was adopted into the English language, and it goes back to like the 15 or 1600s.
Yeah.
And it means to pick food that you want to take to another location, basically. I'm paraphrasing.
Okay.
Nothing to do with racial anything.
Right.
And it's a French term meaning like finger food, basically.
Okay. See, I didn't know. I mean, I've heard the other story, but it's just, stuff like that. It's just the reality is everything was built on a lie. Our whole lives are lies. This is everything. It's all a lie.
But if you think about language, I always go back to the movie Big Fat Greek Wedding. That was like, every word is Greek. Every word can trace back to Greece. And he can trace every word back to ancient Greece and he can tell you where it came from. And I'm like, he's probably right.
Probably is.
I think is like, racist or offensive.
Right.
I want him to come tell me. I want Uncle Gus to come tell me.
He's probably right. I mean, and the racist stuff comes from when you have like songs, like nursery rhymes and history.
My dad, this is last story, I promise. My dad's name is Jim.
Uh-huh.
And my mom and dad have a pond behind it's a lake behind their house. They live on a barrier island in Central Florida.
Mm-hmm.
And they have a lake behind their house. The neighborhood it has a lake. And they feed the wild birds that come to their house. And they feed them cracked corn that they get at the feed store.
Uh-huh.
And without even thinking about it, because I'm a child of a certain age, I was telling my nephew, when you and my dad, his grandpa, go out into the yard to feed the ducks with the cracked corn, you should see Jimmy cracked corn, and I don't care. And he was like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "I've never heard that song." And I was like, "What? You
Right.
never heard that song? That's an old nursery rhyme from when I was a kid." And I looked at the lyrics and I was like, "Oh my God, these are not the lyrics I learned. The lyrics I learned were appropriate for Sunday school, like teachers. They were very tame. The
Listen.
lyrics to that song are not tame. They are
Not at all.
Jesus. That song is about a slave owner. And,
Most of them. If
oh
you
my,
look at ring Around the Rosie.
the N word is like every other word. I was like, what?
Yep.
My sister and I were reading it, and she was like, "Don't teach my son that." And I was like, "I'm not going to," but I mean, what?
Right.
Even my mom, who had taught us that song as a kid, she's like, "That's not the lyrics I knew." And I'm like, "What?" And she's like, "No." I was like, "Never mind. Don't. No. We'll make up new lyrics."
Right. Because I mean, that's not what we were taught, right? Like, I used to sing it all Jimmy Crack Corn and I don't care all the time.
I was like, "The master's on us. That's not what I heard."
Listen.
What? The master? No, he did what? No.
Yeah. Have you ever read all of the lyrics of the Star Spangled Banner?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm with I can't think of the congressman who said we should change it to well, John Lewis had introduced the idea at one point too, but changing the national anthem.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in support of that.
Yeah.
Mark Cuban just announced he's not going to play the national anthem at any of the Dallas Mavericks games.
Wow.
Good.
Yeah, because there's a lot. I mean, like I said, there's a lot of, but a lot of it, like you said before, it's systematic. This is just how it's been for so long. And nobody's ever challenged it, or some people have, but nobody was just like,
But I get it. At the time, look, we started another tangent. At the time that the Star Spangled Banner was written, was obviously a different era. It was 1700. It was the 1700s.
Yep.
It was a different world, and
Yep.
I totally get that,
Right.
and I can understand the feeling of the day, why it became our national anthem.
Yeah.
But times change.
Times change. Yeah.
There are a lot of countries that don't have their first original national anthem anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Nazi Germany's been through a few, not Germany anymore.
Right.
But and Great Britain, when they've gone from kings to queens and back, they changed their national anthem because of one word.
Right.
I just feel like I can't think of the name of it, but the song that's predominantly recognized as the Black or the African American national anthem.
Oh, Lift Every Voice.
Every Voice. Is that the title of it?
Yeah, Lift Every Voice. Mm-hmm.
Every Voice. Okay, because I refer to it as Lift Every Voice, but I didn't know that was the name of it.
Yeah.
So Lift Every Voice, I think would be a wonderful national anthem as proposed by John Lewis and I cannot think of the congressman's name who just proposed it again. But I think a good compromise, because I don't think that would pass because of people like Mitch McConnell and
And the fact that 2 Black men wrote it. So,
well, yeah, that. But I do think that maybe America the Beautiful
yeah.
or Woody Guthrie's This Land Is Your Land, those would be a good compromise because
Yeah.
they mention race at all.
At all.
Uh,
Yep.
or you know what? Have Amanda Gorman write a new one.
Right. Or somebody.
Or Love Reigns.
Right. But I mean, I agree. You know what I mean? I'll tell you the one of the highlight, and I know we're way over, but one of the highlights to me was of the inauguration was J-Lo singing "This Land Is Your Land."
And throwing Benny on the block.
But just the fact that it was a Hispanic woman,
Yeah.
you know what I mean, singing "This Land Is Your Land" at an inauguration, like to me, that spoke volumes, you know what I mean? And it's just, especially with all the stuff that we just encountered, but it's just, I think people just need to understand that it's not about, nobody's trying to change history, you know what I mean? Like, we can acknowledge history, and we can grow from it. We don't have to change it. We're not trying to change it. You know, I was thinking about there was a mural, I don't know if it was St. Augustine or somewhere down south, but on the mural in the courthouse is like the KKK in hoods and everything. But it,
With someone being lynched
right. But it's, the thing about it is, people walk past it every day,
and don't even look at it.
never looked at it, right? Because we get so caught up. Oh, well, this is just how it's always been. That doesn't make it right.
Right.
That doesn't make it right. You know what I mean? Things change. The world is changing.
That's the stuff that needs to be changed.
Yeah.
And schools named after Confederate generals and statues need to be taken down.
Yeah.
I give a shit that there's a mammy on a bottle of syrup, or
Right.
uh, I can't even think of the term, a whip cracker on a on a
Right.
sign. I won't go to that restaurant. I won't.
Right.
It bothers me. I won't buy that syrup.
Right.
I don't want. I don't want monuments in schools named after racist leaders. Failed coups is what they are.
Right. Exactly.
You know what? The safe thing is, don't name schools after anybody, because
Exactly.
you're going to find out in 50 years
They're shitty people.
that Kevin Spacey Public School number 12 shouldn't be named Kevin Spacey Public School number 12, because we thought Kevin Spacey was a good person, and it turns out he's not.
Yep.
And we're going to find out that, the Whoopi Goldberg Public Library sounds like a great idea, but we're going to find out in 50 years that Whoopi Goldberg, I don't know, kicked her dog. Whatever.
Right. Just stop. We have to stop doing the shit that we've always done just for the sake of,
Always.
always doing it.
Don't name shit after people.
Right. I mean, because there's things that we just, things that that are just embedded. It's literally woven into the thread of this country.
Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah.
Everything. And we know that a lot of it's a lie, or the real story wasn't told.
Right.
Or someone else took credit for it. I just found out I didn't know the history of Central Park. Did you hear about the history of Central Park?
I know. I mean, what do you mean?
So apparently, before Central Park became Central Park, that was a prominent area where Black folks lived and were thriving.
Oh, yeah.
I never knew that.
Yeah.
I never knew that.
Well, a big section of it was.
Yeah, and I just never heard about that.
Yeah.
So, but it's a lot. It's a lot of stuff
that beautiful bandstand in St. Augustine was a slave market.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, I learned about that when I was there like 2 years ago, and I spoke at an event, and I learned. I didn't know then. you know? So it's just,
In fifth grade when we took the tour of the fort and we went and watched a local band perform
mm,
on that bandstand, we weren't told that that band was standing on what used to be a slave market
right.
stage.
That's crazy.
I think my black classmates would have been wanting to sit there. I mean, you think my black teacher would have been wanting to sit there?
Right.
And maybe she knew and couldn't do anything about it. But I mean, you
Yeah.
know, the schools that never have to get renamed are, PS 182.
Yep.
You know what? 182 never did anything bad.
Right.
182 never molested a child.
Yep.
182 never tried to overthrow the government.
But don't they do that up north? Isn't mostly up north they do that?
No.
Why? What is it? What the South, man? The South. Well, why do we have such a need to just stroke egos so much? What is that about?
Well,
I mean,
and when they do name a school or a library or something after somebody, it's a private school or library, and it's usually done like there's a like obviously like universities and things like that can do what they want, but if it's a private school, like there's a Jacqueline Kennedy Onassis School for Girls, but they didn't do it until she died, what, 30 years ago, 25 years ago. They did it after she died, and obviously she was such a public figure and modern public figure that there was no dirt on her we didn't already know.
right.
It wasn't like they could.
Like a school after her, for girls. That makes sense.
Right.
You think
Yeah.
of Jackie O, you think, that makes sense because of how polished and how she was such a lady,
Yeah.
So
It wasn't.
I mean,
It wasn't the Dolly Madison School for Girls, and they were like, "Oh, we found out she owned slaves."
right.
Go own slaves, who would know?
Oh my gosh.
Okay, for real now. I love you. Bye.
Okay, I love you.
I love you more. Stay safe. I will see you as soon as I'm able to. As
Yes.
soon as it's safe.
Yes.
Wow.
I love you. Give my love to Jeff too.
I will, of course.
All right.
Hug your mom as soon as you see her. Tell her I love her.
I will.
All right.
All right.
Bye, baby.
Bye.